There are stories in every town, strange tales whispered among locals, passed down through generations. Most of them are just myths, urban legends meant to scare kids into staying home after dark. But sometimes they're warnings. In a small town in Eastern Europe, there's one such legend. They say at night, if you walk the streets alone, you might see her. A woman, dressed in old, tattered clothes, moving strangely under the dim glow of the streetlights. She doesn't run, she doesn't chase, she just walks, but she walks backwards. And if you stare for too long, if you watch her move, she gets closer. I first heard about her when I moved to this town. The locals didn't talk about her openly, just in hushed voices, as if saying her name too loudly might summon her. Some people laughed it off, others refused to even acknowledge it. But one man told me he'd seen her. He said it happened when he was just a teenager. He had been out late, walking home after sneaking out to meet friends. It was past midnight and the streets were empty, cold, silent. Then he saw movement, a woman. She was standing far down the road, just barely visible under a flickering streetlight. At first, he thought she was just another late-night wanderer, until he noticed she was walking in reverse, not like someone who had turned around to look behind them. Her body was completely twisted forward, facing him, yet her feet moved as if she were walking backwards, slowly, deliberately. At first, he thought it was some kind of trick. Maybe she was injured or just some drunk stumbling home. But then, she stopped, her head tilted, just slightly, like she knew she was being watched. And then she took a step, still walking backwards, still staring straight ahead. But somehow, she was closer now. He blinked, and suddenly, she was even closer. That was all he remembered before he turned and ran. I didn't believe him. Not at first. It sounded like some ridiculous urban legend designed to keep kids inside after dark. But curiosity got the best of me. I started digging, asking questions. Most people shut me down. Some even looked scared. But eventually, I found someone willing to talk, an old woman at the market. She told me the story had been around for decades, maybe even longer. She said the backwoods woman wasn't just a legend, she was a warning. Long ago, there was a woman who lived in the village. A widow, cruel and bitter, feared by the townsfolk. She was accused of practicing dark rituals, speaking to things that shouldn't be spoken to. One night, she was dragged from her home. The villagers had had enough. They blamed her for sickness, deaths, disappearances. They said she had sold her soul for unnatural power. They forced her to walk backwards out of town. And as she walked, she whispered curses. They say she vowed never to leave, that one day she would return. And ever since, she has walked these streets. I should have left it alone, but I didn't. One night, I went looking for her. It was stupid. I walked through the empty streets, following the same path the old man had taken years ago. The air was cold, unnaturally still. Then, I heard it. Soft footsteps in the distance, and I turned the corner, and there she was, standing under a street lamp, not moving, not breathing. Her clothes were tattered and dirty, her hair long and lifeless, her face pale, expressionless. Then, she took a step, backwards. She shouldn't have been able to move like that. Her body was facing me, but her feet slid smoothly in reverse. She stepped again, and suddenly she was closer. I stepped back. My breath caught in my throat. She didn't blink, didn't look away. Then she smiled. It was too wide, too unnatural. My instinct screamed at me to run, but my legs wouldn't move. She took another step. This time, her head tilted at an unnatural angle. Something was wrong. She was closer now. I blinked, and she was closer again. That's when I ran. I don't know how far, I don't know how long, but when I finally looked back, she was gone.